Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Scrap Empire. My name is Zach Hayes, and today we're going to be talking about an early preliminary bout for this upcoming UFC fight night. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be featuring Matthew Semelsburger going up against Martin Sano. Right? Now, let's get started with Matthew Semelsburger's fight with him and This is a fight on UFC Fight Pass, and if you are subscribed to the UFC Fight Pass app, it would be great if you look the fight up just to have an idea of what I'm talking about. Now, you look at Matthew Semelsburger. His physique doesn't look the strongest, but he looks in shape. He looks extreme. He looks extremely conditioned. Now again, he doesn't look like a power lifter like compared to the other guys that I've mentioned, but he's in shape and he's strong. And that's exactly what you need to be a contender in the Ultimate Fighter Championship. Now, let's get started, right? You see Matthew Semelsburger, the way how he throws his shots, you hear the snap. You hear the impact. You hear the force behind his shots. Right? And I think that's what contributed towards him developing momentum throughout the rounds. You know, I like how when he throws his combinations, he makes sure he's making sure that he's turning with his pivot, right? But it's connecting. But when he's turning with the punch, he's making sure that it connects. And that's exactly what I like to see when I'm observing exceptional striking. Right. Another detail I notice about Matthew Semelsburger, his endurance. Of course, he doesn't have the endurance of an Olympic sprinter, but again, this man is really well conditioned. His striking is pretty good. Now, is it top level strike? Now, does he possess top level striking ability? That's for us to. We would have to keep on seeing him fight so he can show more of himself. And this is the only fight. I mean, even though it was 20 minutes, this is the only full match that I've watched from Matthew Semelsburger. 3 consecutive rounds of him going toe to toe with an opponent. So I wouldn't say he doesn't have the top level striking, because who knows? His next couple of bouts under his UFC contract, he might catch knockouts and really start to develop his reputation. So that's why I'm really big on sticking to the basics. I say that a lot in my videos, but yeah, you guys know what I mean. Yeah, and of course there are plenty of times throughout the fight when Carman has had his moments of striking. But of course, Matthew Semelsburger was just a more complete fighter, and he landed more strikes throughout all of the rounds. So that's why the judges gave him the decision unanimously. That's why he won the fight unanimously. Let's get started with Martin Sano. It is a fight with him going up against Dominic Walters on YouTube. Right. Now let's look on. Let's talk about the fight. Let's talk about Martin Sano's opponent, which was Dominic Walters. He very, very, very physically strong. The man looks like he works he looks like he moves mattresses for 8 to 10 hours a day. The guy just looks really, really strong. And Martin Sano, he has a good physique. Of course, it doesn't look like Dominic Waters. Not that, not. Yeah, his physique doesn't look like Dominic Waters, but that doesn't contribute towards him being, you know, not as good as a fighter compared to Dominic Waters. It's just physique doesn't really look as good. But it's not about having a good physique. It's about getting the victory, right? Martin Sano, throughout the fight, was getting Dominic Waters took down Martin Sano plenty of times throughout the fight, and I'm really, really concerned about that because Matthew Semelsburger, right? He's a really, really strong guy, and you can tell from the way how he throws his punches. You can hear the snap. You hear the effect that it has on his opponent. So when you see Martin Sano, it wasn't like he was getting taken down like throughout the whole entire fight, but he was taken down at least 4 to 5 times, and that's a lot, And of course, he had some takedown defense, but again, Dominic Waters was constantly taking him down, having him on the ground, had him under ground control. So there's either a lack of technique or a lack of awareness. I don't mean awareness in the sense where he isn't present fight, but there needs to be you need a sense of situational awareness when you're going up against just anyone, right? And if you're getting taken down at more than 5 times any fight, and you're not taking down your opponent the amount of times or as much times they're taking you down, then again it just shows that you need to improve on your situational awareness, right? Because that's going to increase the instinctual nature of your fighting ability. Because most of the time people think that like you're consciously making movements when you're fighting at a top level. Now, for other people who are fighting at a intermediate or beginner's level, they're most likely, acting on their moves consciously. They're consciously acting on their move, in terms of just throwing punches and throwing strikes. But when you get to a certain level of any combat sports, of any form of combat sports, whether it's boxing or mixed martial arts, you'll most likely be instinctively just acting off of the programming that you've been subjected to, in terms of like the repetition that you incorporated into your subconscious, in terms of just practicing the same moves over and over and over, watching fights for hours and hours and hours. That's going to have an effect on how you fight, right? And then you have a lot of guys who are fighting at the top level. When they fight, it's like their subconscious brain is on autopilot. I don't think they're even aware of the stuff they're doing. It just happens. It's just when you practice something for so long, when you have so much repetition and repetition, right? That's it's going to be like riding a bike. You can't ever forget it, right? So it's just Martin Sano. That's why he didn't have the fight go to his favor, just because he wasn't as active as Dominic Waters. Now, I gave you an analysis of Martin Sano. I also gave you an analysis of Matthew Semelsburger. Who do I see being a who do I see being a more complete fighter to win this bout between the two? Matthew Semelsburger. Only because, again, when Martin Sano fought Dominic Waters, an opponent who looked a bit stronger than him, right? Again, strength doesn't mean anything when it comes to fights, but if you know how to utilize your strength, it can have a big impact. So, Martin Sano just wasn't able to perform at a high level when someone had the strength. Because if someone knew how to use their strength against Martin Sano, what happened? He was taken down at least 4 or 5, probably 6 times throughout the fight. All right, and when you have somebody like Matthew Semelsburger who's going up against Carmanis, right? Yeah, Matthew Semelsburger wasn't trying. Well, he didn't take down his opponent as many times as Dominic Waters to Martin Sano. However, you can still tell a guy has a lot of strength from the way how he throws his punches. And that's what I'm concerned about Martin Sano. Can he take a strong shot from Matthew Semelsburger? But can he take those hard shots constantly? Can he take those hard shots throughout the whole entire fight and not be discouraged from the lack of fighting that he would have to exchange with Matthew Semelsburger? I just see Matthew Semelsburger being a more complete fighter. But again, I'm still going to give Martin Sano the benefit of the doubt. Just because you're the underdog doesn't mean that you have to succumb to defeat. Use this as motivation and inspiration towards being the best fighter that night and get the victory that you deserve. But I just see Matthew Semelsburger being a more complete fighter. And if I'm wrong in my prediction, and I'll be man enough to say that I was wrong. But it's just what I see. It's just from my observation. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Scrap Empire. Please like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Please leave any constructive criticism or feedback that you think will allow me to help elevate my channel as well, please. And thank you all for taking out of your time to watch my content. You all have a beautiful morning, beautiful afternoon, and an amazing Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. You all take care, and I'll be speaking to you guys soon. Bye-bye.